Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about the strawberry full moon, which is occurring tomorrow on Friday the 5th of June. As I do with all my other full moon videos, or just moon videos, I like to start with the very bare basics of the moon phase that we're talking about. So the bare basics of full moon energy is receiving abundance and harvest for your efforts. You may have done an attracting spell to attract either love, wealth or health into your life, increasing with the waxing moon, and on the full moon is when you should be receiving the fruits of all of that. And after the full moon we move into a phase of obviously the moon waning, going back to a new moon, which is good for the kind of spell work that involves banishing, releasing or relinquishing, giving up addictions or banishing negativity from your life in whatever form that may be. So that is just the bare basics of the energies that the full moon is around. In general, every single time there's a full moon, there are these energies about. The full moon being the time of culmination and harvest of the build-up that you had from the new moon to the full moon, which, as I said, is happening tomorrow on Friday the 5th of June. The last full moon in May fell on a Monday, which is the day itself most associated with the moon, and the full moon of this month in June is falling on a Friday, which is the day of the week most associated with love. So the full moon in June goes by a lot of different names, but the most commonly used one is probably the strawberry full moon, and this is because the Native Americans of North America named it the strawberry full moon to signify that now was the time to be out picking strawberries, as at this time the strawberries would be at their most ripe and ready to be eaten. This is the last full moon of spring officially, because right after this full moon is when we head towards summer solstice time, moving into the full height of the summer, and it's when we start to really exit the time of the playful spring maiden kind of energy that is around in spring. If you think of the triple goddess archetypes, the maiden goddess would be associated with spring. We're moving out of that into the more nurturing, nourishing, abundant fullness of the mother goddess, which tends to arise more around summer and autumn when food becomes more readily available to nurture us and nourish us. It's the mother goddess providing for us, I suppose. So in terms of the triple goddess, we would be moving from the maiden phase more into the mother phase at this point as we move deeper into summer. So I like to think of it as the strawberry full moon because strawberries are the fruits that sustain us, that are coming into ripeness at this time, and it just reminds me of the mother goddess being able to provide for us more, provide more than the maiden goddess archetype I suppose would, but of course she is lovely as well. A couple of alternative names for this full moon of June can be the rose moon, obviously because there are so many roses out at this time. I think June is probably when the highest number of roses are likely to be blooming, so very beautiful roses everywhere. So some people call this the rose full moon, and other people call this the honeymoon, which a theory about that is that as the month of June is named after the ancient Roman goddess of marriage, Juno, the honeymoon obviously comes after a marriage. So it could be that the full moon in June is named honeymoon because it's the honeymoon after the marriage that you have in June, I suppose. So that's just an interesting little theory there for you. Now, as for this strawberry full moon of 2020, specifically the one happening this year, we're getting a lunar eclipse happening around the same time, and it's the first lunar eclipse of the year. I think it's called the penumbral lunar eclipse, which means it's not as complete as a total lunar eclipse and will be quite hard to see on the moon. I think it just means that the moon is going to be a little bit darker, and basically these kind of eclipses typically mean that we're being called to look inwards a bit more, step back a bit and reflect on things a bit. I suppose it brings a bit more of the new moon energy of the darkness and going within and reflecting. However, an interesting contrast to this is the fact that the full moon itself is falling within the sign of Sagittarius, as well as the sun being in the sign of Gemini right now, as I talked about in my last video all about the energy of Gemini. And the full moon in the sign of Sagittarius really points to kind of a restless desire to travel and explore new things. As Sagittarius is a fire sign, a mutable fire sign that loves that kind of changeability, flexibility, and just desire to explore the world with a kind of fiery passion. And with the sun being in the sign of Gemini, that's also, I guess, Gemini is also quite a restless spirit energy to it, as Gemini is governed by the element of air and is also a mutable sign that is very changeable and flexible. So Sagittarius moon combined with Gemini sun, I think would bring with it, I guess, a lot of restlessness, which we need to try and tame, because obviously right now we can't really go out and be as adventurous and explorative as we would like, but also just the desire to either try new things or learn new things. And so to get through this time, if you find yourself feeling restless and agitated and like, I just want to go out and explore the world, feeling impatient with the lockdown and all of that, I would recommend that you look into learning things and exploring with your mind, because that's what the sign of Gemini is all about. So if we can draw on the energies of the sun sign of Gemini and go on a kind of mental exploration and a mental journey, rather than it necessarily having to be a physical journey that the sign of Sagittarius might want us to do a bit more, this can help us to hopefully get through this time a little bit better, as there's obviously quite a lot of conflicting energies around at the moment that could cause a lot of understandable frustrations. And of course, I can't very well talk about the current frustrations in the air without at least acknowledging the frustrations of the Black community at the moment, very understandably so, as the injustices and the struggles that they face have recently been brought back to light and back to public attention, as the moon in Sagittarius and the sun in Gemini can both correlate to the vibe of learning in some way. I guess this would be the best time really to set yourself to learning perhaps about the struggles of the Black community, as I myself have been doing. If you are a white person, as I am obviously myself, and thus can't really be able to appreciate the full extent of the Black community suffering, now would be a really good time to just try and familiarise yourself with it and learn more about it, so that we can be in a better position to help educate others, bring awareness to the issues, and just be able to be better helpers for the people who are struggling right now, the Black people who are facing injustices and feeling very distressed right now. And hopefully with all of the learning that we can do here at this time, with all the energies going around, we can shed a light on all of the darkness of ignorance that has plagued the world for far too long and caused the suffering of many people who don't deserve it. So as for how to honour this full moon, I would say don't forget to ground and centre yourself as much as possible, because obviously there are a lot of negative energies flying around in the world anyway. COVID-19 was bad enough for a lot of people and pushed a lot of people to breaking point, and now we have obviously the frustrations of the Black community coming to the fore as well. There's a lot of different energies that are causing a lot of fear and tension, and I've also heard that Venus is in retrograde, which could be doing some weird things. I don't know too much about that, so feel free to leave a comment if you do, and how that could affect us at this time as well. But yes, I would say centering and grounding yourself as much as possible, meditating and making gratitude lists would be really essential for all of us to just be able to stay afloat and not drown in the sea of negativity that is going around at this time. Of course, spend some time reflecting on the fruits of the summer that are coming up, and just the loving energy of that mother goddess that is coming up more as the year progresses, and perhaps even just feel that you can rely on her to provide you with that encouragement, support and reassurance that I think we all are needing a lot of at the minute. So I am sending a lot of love to you all. Hope you have a blessed and wonderful full moon time, and don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you like my channel, if you like my content, if you want to see more of it. That's really what helps to encourage me to do more and makes me feel like what I'm doing is worthwhile, I suppose, and the work I put in is worthwhile. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys could hit the thumbs up button, and I'll see you all next week, hopefully with another video. Blessed be everyone, and take care.